So not too long ago, I was watching a very interesting video made by the brilliant creator called Sideways. I highly recommend his unique content, but that's not the point. Here's a little snippet of what he said.
What I mean by that is that when it comes to vocalists, you're honestly dealing with a completely different breed of the musical world. See, ever since the 1600s or so, everyone and their mother who's ever had a solo at their local church has felt qualified enough to become some kind of vocal teacher. So over hundreds and hundreds of years of people basically faking it until they make it, all trying to be their generation's Beyonce, a lot of technical terms and labels in the vocalist catalog have ended up with dozens of different meanings and interpretations. There are some vocal terms and techniques out there that have been so misused over so many years that they are almost completely meaningless. So trying to honestly grow and develop in the vocal world is an absolute nightmare.
I literally gasped when I heard this. I just had this ah moment. And I wouldn't be myself if I didn't make my own video to expand on the topic and add to the conversation. Discussing vocals and vocals pedagogy is tricky, especially when done online, which applies to the vast majority of us. Internet is a place where basically anyone can say pretty much anything, so it's perfect for misinformation, confusion, and chaos to grow at a scary pace. The speed is comparable to the speed of Mariah Carey's vocal runs. It's hard to keep up. The terms lose their original meaning, while people also come up with new stuff. But on paper, vocals shouldn't be that difficult to discuss. I mean, we have one larynx. We know the function of cricothyroid muscle, we know about the thyroarytenoid muscle, we know the breathing mechanism, etc. In theory, there's so much we know, so what is the problem? Vocal pedagogy is the study of both the art and science of singing and voice instruction. It covers a broad range of topics and aspects. Apart from sheer vocal practice, it also takes its elements of human anatomy, physiology, and even acoustics, which is a branch of physics. In Poland, where I'm from, people study singing or vocal pedagogy for 3 or 5 years to get a degree. And while vocal coaches and other specialists agree on fundamental stuff, there are also areas where the opinions and perspectives don't really align. If you're gonna ask about mixed voice, mixed register, whether or not can men sing in head voice or do women have falsetto, you'll get more than a few variations of answers. Of course, these were just examples. There are teachers who developed their own singing methods and teach them to their students.
Speech level singing to the detractor is one opinion, but what we do has a better track record. Usually, better track record than those people that try to put it down. In other words, speech level singing means that you don't reach up or down for pitches. The Germans say Mittelstimme, the French say voix mixte.
What is happening?
And what they do is that the chord actually, it zips up just like a zipper. And the pitch making slides forward on the chord. But it happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do, you have to make sure that you breathe, the diaphragmatic breath, and fill from the bottom.
Let's make sure that we know there is not just one mix. It's a common mistake for us to think of the mix as just one voice. And we think, was that the mix? I gotta search for my mix. I was singing, I didn't know if I was in my mix or not. Who can help me find the mix? And we can lose our minds trying to determine whether something's a mix, when really I'm thrilled and also sorry to say that the mix is an infinite amount of vocal coordinations.
One voice, yet so many perspectives. Wait, but isn't science all about facts and objectivity? Technically, it is. However, when dealing with complex cases, it becomes more difficult. In a world of science, inconsistencies, disagreements, even contradictions happen all the time. From my own experience as a med student, I can confirm the number of times when one book mentions something that the other doesn't. One professor says this, one professor says that. The other professor says something similar, but not quite the same. And it applies to other studies, which many of you can probably attest to that. It's hard to keep up. I believe that a lot of confusion and chaos online regarding vocals come from people who try to oversimplify things. Singing is not as linear as some of y'all would like it to be. Yeah, you probably saw that coming. I'm gonna talk about supported range. Well, the popularity of supported range doesn't surprise me. A rather simple linear concept that could be used to evaluate the technical skills of singers seems tempting. People took it and ran with it, and I also used to be one of them. Then, there was a time when people saw the cracks and holes in the idea of support and supported range and came up with new exclusive terms: ringing notes, grounded, free, and more, stirring up the already messy and leaking pot. Now it seems like we're back to the supported range era with an addition of some vocal tiers. It's hard to keep up. My question to you is, when and where have you first heard of support in the context of supported range? I know I learned about it around 2016 from a YouTube channel and a blog. The actual origin of the support concept is unclear to me. However, what is clear is that there are little to no reputable sources using the term support in the context that it's used online. Well, yes, you're gonna hear the word support a lot, but it's not gonna mean the same thing. It's like speaking a language to someone who doesn't really speak it.
I don't think that he needed to change his support very much, though. I don't think that it was an issue of how much air is getting through or the resistance to his vocal cords. I think that the problem with that was he was just a little bit tense up like this. You can support the way that most people use that word, and you can also strain. It's not like you can, if you're supporting, you're never gonna strain. That's not true. There are different ways for you to start squeezing weird muscles and making things harder on yourself. I wouldn't label these support. I kind of don't love saying support versus strain because, again, I don't believe that they are mutually exclusive, that you can only have one. I think that you can have both, and it's just the levels of support that you have, because I look at support like it's the relationship between air and muscle. And if the relationship between air and muscle is really good, then it creates a really nice, healthy buzz that can then go get amplified in your mouth and in all of this, in your throat, with your formants through your vowels. I think that the difference between these guys isn't really that some of them aren't supporting, because it doesn't matter how much you change this if you're this tight.
Truly a recipe for miscommunication and confusion. To build your whole perspective on, at best, questionable premise seems unreasonable.
What's about to happen? This is me being reasonable.
Another thing that inevitably comes into play when discussing vocals and singing is bias and personal preference. Yes, bias exists, and we are all susceptible to it. For different reasons, we like some singers more than other. Some voices are more appealing to us than other, and sometimes it's due to something completely different. We cannot deny the bias that exists in all of us. It often affects the way we analyze and think about things. And naturally, it goes way beyond music and vocals. I don't know if it's possible to get rid of our bias completely. Minimizing our bias doesn't seem impossible, but it surely is hard. It takes a lot of maturity and critical thinking to do. Having said that, I guess it's good to be aware of our own biases and those of other people. Coming back to just vocals, there are also different things we value in singers. For example, I personally think that the use of vocal agility and vocal runs is an important skill for a pop singer. It takes talent, practice time, and effort to master. So on my channel, I use it as one of the aspects to evaluate singers off of. But not everyone would agree with me on that. I get it. Talking about vocals isn't easy. It's nuanced as hell. It's often not as black or white as we might like. I also encourage you to educate yourself on vocal pedagogy if that's what you want to do. But please be careful. That's all I can say. It's hard to keep up. I wouldn't call my channel educational. I am glad and honored when I see your comments telling me that you have learned something through my content. I am a vocal enthusiast and a choir singer. I definitely do not want you to put my videos on a pedestal. Never, 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 enough, never be enough for me. My goal with what I do on here isn't to always be the one who's right. My goal is to create content for you to enjoy, relax, have fun, or get inspired by. And I want you to know that even in the moments when you don't agree with me, which you don't have to, I always put effort in what I do. I encourage you to form your own opinions just like I do. That is all I have for you guys in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and yeah, see you soon. For now, bye guys.